Okay,
Right.
well,
We've got,
I think we can go ahead and get started. So this is the Lego Braille Bricks session of our Brailing with the Experts Literacy for All workshop taking place this week. This is going to focus on using the Lego Braille Bricks and then how to request them from FIMC for your students who are registered with us in Florida. We do have captioning available, which I think is, let's see, is that up there yet? If it's available, there will be a button along the bottom of your Zoom menu that will say live transcription, I believe. Okay.
yep, it's there.
And so if you have questions as we go along, you can use the chat, and next to that too in the chat box, click on the drop down and make sure it says all panelists and attendees so we can all see your questions. Okay. So you want to take it away, Sarah?
Well, remember, if you want to use the chat box, the chat feature, so that you can make comments or ask questions or answer questions from each other, that you want to, which I forget to do every single time, is change in the chat box the to from all panelists to all panelists and attendees. So make sure you are writing to all panelists and attendees. If you change that right now, then you will be good to go. Liz, you can do this spiel.
Oh, yes. So the PowerPoint for this presentation has not been posted just yet, but it will be posted by the end of today. And it will be on the event page of our website. So you're looking for that Brailing with the Experts page. And then within the agenda for this week-long event, there are all of the sessions, including this one. So the handout will be linked there, and then the recording link will be in there as well. So you can refer back to that. And once this whole week is over, the information for this session will migrate to the past events portion of our website, again, under that Brailing with the Experts event. And so we are not providing in-service or ACD or EPAC credit for this session. Your prize that you get from this session is being able to order the Lego Braille Bricks. So we are going to give you a code, and you're going to use the code that we give you at the beginning and then another one at the end in order to submit that Lego Braille Bricks Toolkit request. So we'll explain that towards the end of the session. And the opening code is real. So that will be your code that you use on the request form.
And that was real, R-E-A-L, keep it real. Okay, so let's jump into the Lego Foundation. Kay said earlier, I guess it was in a debriefing session though, but the Lego Foundation came to APH essentially and said that they were looking, they wanted to do something, maybe they had the idea, they wanted to do something with Braille, make something more inclusive for their Legos. And this is what they developed. So this is not an APH product. Lego Foundation is separate from the Lego Corporation. They do a lot of really cool stuff in the educational world. And this is another really cool thing that they did, is making Legos, just bringing a mainstream product, making it more interesting and enticing and appealing, and including students with visual impairments, and bringing awareness to the world about Braille. The Lego Foundation aims to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow, a mission that it shares with the Lego Group. The Lego Foundation is dedicated to building a future where learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. Our work is about redefining play and reimagining learning. In collaboration with thought leaders, influencers, educators, and parents, the Lego Foundation aims to equip, inspire, and activate champions for play. So they are definitely excited about getting all kids out there playing and being involved. And there's so many crucial skills that kids learn from playing. The Lego Braille Bricks Toolkit It contains the Braille bricks. So each little Lego, I did not know that that's what they were called. My whole life, I've just called them Legos. And I have a Lego or I have a whole bunch of Legos. So I was kind of excited that there's actually a name for these. They're called bricks. And the bumpy parts on top of the Legos, no matter what kind of Lego it is, they're called the studs. And they stick to each other. That's how we can make them stackable. And I believe that's why the dots are not smaller, because the Legos have to be able to click into each other and be stackable, of course, do what they do. So there are a minimum of 300 bricks in the five Lego colors: green, yellow, red, blue, and the white. There are 3 base plates on which to work. Each base plate is gray, and it's essentially just a square and has all the ridges or all the studs on it that the bricks will get pressed onto. And then there are brick separators, and those are just going to be flat blank pieces, so they can be used in between. The website at the bottom of this slide, aph.org/Lego-Braille-Bricks, they have more information about the bricks, how they were created, why they're created, and tons and tons and tons of ideas of what to do with the bricks and how to incorporate those into a fun playing session. Some people have asked, I've watched several webinars on these. One of the common questions is there an identifier to tell, like an orientation to tell which is the top of the Braille brick? And really, it's just the dots are at the top. So the studs are at the top upper portion, and at the bottom it's blank, and there's a print letter. So it'll have a number that corresponds with a number, and then it has an uppercase print letter that corresponds with the dot orientations. And APH is the partnering institution in the United States with the Lego Foundation. So they are responsible for disseminating the Braille bricks. And of course, Florida Instruction Materials Center is the ex officio trustee that we've received the bricks and the toolkit. So we are ready to send these out. They are the same size as the Lego, the regular Lego bricks. Learning through play. So the Lego Foundation, one of their big talks is about play. They actually do a webinar on playing and what makes activities playful. So learning through play, we know that spatial awareness and positional concepts can be developed by playing with Legos, just any Legos, not just Legos that have the orientation of the Braille dots on them. They're going to learn self-to-self positional concepts and spatial awareness. They'll learn self-to-object, object-to-object relationships. Kids can learn in, out, over, under, next to. They can build tall towers. They can build flat buildings. There are tons and tons of concepts and really important hands-on skills that all kids are going to learn just from playing. And playing with the Lego bricks is the same thing that their friends are doing, the same thing for our students that their brothers and sisters are doing. These are just a great tool or a toy to begin with. But for our students, they need to develop these skills a little more explicitly or just have more involvement, more encouragement, because we really need to develop that hand development. So of course, or hand strength, finger dexterity, finger strength, of course, that's going to be reinforced and promoted by playing with Lego bricks, playing with any kind of construction, putting things together, pulling things apart. But they're really going to get those fine motor skills in there because they are small, they're regular size. So they'll be able to develop that strength. These are all skills that kids are going to need if they're going to be future tactile readers. The fine and the gross motor skills, manipulating the Lego bricks, storing them, carrying them, simply just building with them and taking things apart. You might have some students where they're not strong enough to take the bricks apart, but maybe they can squeeze them together. Or if there's a whole stack of them, they can pull, just hold on to one end or the other and pull, but they can't quite get individual bricks apart yet. And that will develop, just like the strength that they need to push down on the Braille writer. The socialization of play, of any kind of play, is crucial. And if kids are playing with these mainstream toys that their friends and classmates are using, then it's going to encourage them even more. So with social skills, they can practice turn taking, doing cooperative play, just having, just sharing. And, oh, I need this color. How, you know, can I exchange this color for that color? Working together, doing pretend play by coming up with stories, building structures and creating their own stories based on their real life experiences. And lots of compensatory skills. We're going to have kids using containers, opening and closing containers, sorting, classifying, learning that, working on that one-to-one correspondence, making patterns. Lots and lots of prerequisite skills that children need for formal literacy instruction can be promoted and reinforced using the Lego bricks. How Florida Instructional Material Center recommends using these is just in that way, that they're using the Lego bricks to teach students the skills that they need to become literate, to become ready for that formal literacy program, or to learn a Braille reading and writing curriculum. We definitely don't recommend, as Kay was saying earlier, that this is going to replace a Braille curriculum. It might look like, oh, wow, this is great. It has print letters on it. It has Braille dots on it. And we can use this in the classroom and they can follow along with what's happening on the board. But that's not the case with the Legos, because they are the Lego bricks. They are a toy. They're not Braille. They have the orientation, the visual orientation of the Braille, but we've talked about quite a bit this week that we want Braille to fit under the pads of their fingertips. So there are many benefits and really fun uses and hands-on activities and things that Lego bricks can work on, but not to be used as a teaching curriculum. And somebody asked if they're similar to the tactiles, and I haven't seen the tactiles in so long, but the first time I saw the Lego Braille bricks, that's the first thing I thought, Beth, is that, hey, it looks like they brought back the tactiles. Again, those are great those can reinforce the fine motor skills and the finger strength and just the exploration of different textures and the bumps, but we don't want to use them to actually teach a child to read. So for emerging and early Braille learners, we're going to choose activities, choose, create, or adapt the existing Braille brick activities to develop the skills that are needed for literacy. So we can't stress enough, look at all the activities that are already created with discrimination. Like, actually just think about, well, is this activity teaching prerequisite skills? Is it teaching concept development? Is it teaching the hand and finger strength? Or is this a lesson that looks like it's designed to teach somebody how to read letters in Braille? So just because it's on a website, just because it's on the internet, just because somebody else says do this, doesn't mean that it's right for your students, or that it's teaching the skills that they need for tactile learning. So you can choose the activities that are already there, create your own activities, or adapt the activities that are already there that are going to fit your students' needs. You could also refer to some kind of type of a pre-Braille checklist to look at skills. And I keep going back to the evals because it's very comprehensive, but in their compensatory access, they have a pre-Braille assessment checklist, and it goes through lots and lots of skills that young children need to learn and develop in order to be tactile readers. So you could use that, refer to that checklist and just come up with, oh, well, how can we use these Lego bricks to teach those skills? Teach Braille using Braille with different types of reading curriculum that Sherry went over, tons and tons of them yesterday, using a Braille-rich environment where the Braille is actually going to fit under the pads of their fingers. So they get lots and lots of exposure, just like sighted kids have lots of exposure to print. Using materials like the Word Playhouse or Math Window, that's going to give the actual size Braille, and we call that the on-demand Braille. So if teachers are in a classroom setting and they have a child who's a Braille reader, but the TVI is not around, those are great tools because they have print as well as Braille on them, and they can be used to communicate within the classroom setting and to adapt all kinds of lessons on demand. And there's so many uses for the Word Playhouse and the Math Window. The Word Playhouse has Velcro on the back and it fits on a Velcro board, and the Math Window has small magnetic tiles that are used on a magnetic board. And we just learned, hopefully all of you were on Andrea and Sherry's sessions earlier about refreshable Braille and different devices to get kids exposed early. And Donna McNear talked about a young child that she used to work with who was in pre-K, and he may have been kindergarten at the time, but she was exposing him to a refreshable Braille display. And she said it was a play, they were playing. So she wasn't teaching a formal literacy lesson. She was playing with the child, and that refreshable Braille display was something that they were using throughout their play. Established Braille readers. So kids who already know how to read Braille, they're really good Braille readers. They could have a lot of fun with the Lego Braille Bricks, because now they have the skills. If they're proficient Braille readers, they can look at the crafty Braille and the cutesy Braille, and they can now communicate with their friends in school or their peers. They could build things and send secret, or not so secret because it has print on it, but they can send messages back and forth. They can answer questions that their friends are posing. Their friends can pose questions in Lego brick writing. So that could be fun for those who already have the skills to be tactile readers. But also think about the same thing. You want to choose existing activities, create new ones, or adapt ones that are already on the website so that you can reinforce the skills that are needed for tactile reading. Some kids who are established readers, they may not be fluent and they don't have the best reading mechanics. So we want to encourage them to use both hands, moving forward on the Braille, not up and down, not exploring, not looking for giant dots, but the activities can be adapted to help reinforce skills that they need to be better tactile readers. And don't forget, like, it's just play, just creating stuff. That's always a goal using the Lego bricks. We can also use the Braille bricks to develop skills that are needed for tactile graphics and understanding spatial relationships, and just including with creativity the Braille readers along with their teachers, their peers, their family, their friends, other folks. We also just wanted to point out that the Lego Braille bricks are recommended for ages 4 and up. So if you have 2, 3-year-olds that you're working with, or if you have a 4-year-old that is not really at the 4-year-old level and you have safety concerns. So you also do have to use discretion as far as who you're sending these with or using them with. But definitely for 4 and up, the Legos can be washed. One of the webinars, they said that the Legos they can go through a dishwasher, and I'm not entirely sure how that would happen. You can tell I don't use a dishwasher, but there might be some kind of container that they can be put into, but also just using soap and water or a cleaning solution. That way they can be washed before the Lego bricks are passed on to another student or others to play with. So like I already said, start with the existing Lego foundation, APH activity ideas, and choose the activities that you feel are going to be helpful for the students that you're working with, and adapt those as you need to. If you need to make Braille, on-demand Braille, right here, right now, use a Braille or use a slate and stylus, use an embosser, refreshable Braille devices. Definitely find that Word Playhouse and Math Window. If you are a TVI or a parent who's got Braille out there, that's going to save your life. I heard Sherry said a few times during Andrea's presentation that she wished she had that technology years ago when she was teaching. And these two, the Word Playhouse and Math Window, I recreated those I thought I created them very rudimentarily when I was teaching. And these are just absolutely brilliant, super time savers. You can create your own activities. This is where you use your creativity and imagination. Again, using a Braille readiness checklist like the TSB-VI evals kit, use that as a starting off point to generate ideas, just as maybe a springboard. But you can use the Braille bricks to help with recognizing the spatial relationship. So this is one of the skills on the checklist: the in, out, front, back, top, bottom, on top, right side, understanding the meanings of corners and edges, recognizing basic shapes, different textures. Check out one of those, the the Braille readiness or pre-Braille skills list, and you're going to find so many ways that you can use the Lego bricks and other toys to get young children working on those concepts. So thinking about those concepts, some things that we just kind of, just from looking at the Lego bricks and working with children, came up with like a few ideas right off the bat, that we can use the bricks to sort and then press all the red bricks at the top of the plate. So using the base plate, look for all the red bricks for children that have vision. All the red bricks can go on the top. All the blue bricks can go in the middle. All the green bricks can go at the bottom. So now we're working on positional concepts of top, middle, bottom. Or you can look at, have your students find all the Braille bricks that have 1 or 2 dots, and they go on the top of the base plate. Any Braille brick that has 3 or 4 dots, and it's not dot 3, dot 4, we're talking they physically have 3 dots on them, or they physically have 4 dots on them. Place those in the middle of the base plate. Any Braille bricks that have 5 or 6 dots on them, place those at the bottom of the base plate. So you're reinforcing the top, middle, bottom, reinforcing that one-to-one correspondence. You could also have them sort by Braille bricks that have dots on the first side, or that have dots on the second side, or that have dots on the upper or the lower parts of the actual Braille brick itself, or sort them that have some that have bumps and some that are smooth. In a bucket of Braille bricks, place some different either random objects or objects related to a theme, like bathroom items, a toothbrush, a toothpaste tube, a wrapped bar of soap. Ask your student now to dig through the Braille bricks to find all of these different items. So they're working on tactile discrimination. Have them then create a picture. So choose, let's say, a toothbrush. And now with these bricks, I want you to make a picture of a toothbrush. So how would the student take the toothbrush and then represent it using the Braille bricks, and maybe reverse it? You make a picture with the Braille bricks, and then the student has to go into the bucket and find the object that's represented by that. So I hope that your brains are thinking and percolating and coming up with ideas already that you know that you can use with some of your existing students. You can create, so this is fun, creating stories. Come up with relatable experiences where children use the Braille bricks as the characters or the props, or they build something. So one thing that I came up with is you could make pretend like all the Braille bricks are cars and make a street. So have all the Braille bricks as cars lined up on the street, and ask your student, say, we have to find the O&M van. So maybe the O&M van has 2 Braille bricks on top of it. So they have to find the van that's bigger. Or maybe walking along the street, passing all the small cars that are a single layer. And then the city bus can have triple stacked bricks, and say, oh, the bus is, maybe it's 2 bricks long and it's 3 bricks high. And you can just say, oh, we need to find the city bus. Let's go down the row. Or we're at the transit center and we've got to transfer to the next bus, and it's all the way at the end. Or you could have several rows and count how many buses are at the transfer center. So these things should be paired with similar experiences that they've already had. That's what the pretend play comes from, pretending to do or be something that you've already seen. The same thing can happen with tactile graphics. So you can kind of set the stage. So pretend that the base plate is a giant table, and use the bricks to set the plates. And then maybe the Braille bricks that have lots of dots on them can go in the middle of the table, and those are the serving dishes. The student can make a map, or help them make a map of their bedroom, make a map of their living room. Pretending that it's the base plate is a table, and setting the table, that's making a map of the table. So this can transfer to mapping skills, tactile graphics. After playing on a playground, or if you know that the student you work with has experience on playgrounds, or they have playground equipment in their backyard, then use the Legos to design their own playground, where they get to make up their own and make it their dream playground. They can have a really, really tall slide if they want, or if the slides are terrifying to them, they can have short slides only, but it's their world. They can make it what they want. Some kids might need some encouragement and ideas to get started, and some might just be like, leave me alone, I got this. Make a maze. So using horizontal, vertical, talking about parallel, perpendicular lines, make a maze. Make several routes on the base plates, maybe 3 routes, and then ask your student to find the fastest route to the other side. So some could be really windy and twisty and take a long time, and one route might be really direct. So you can talk about that spatial awareness and helping them just develop those spatial concepts. We can challenge students, challenge them to make a design on the base plate, or you make a design on the base plate and then ask the student to recreate that design. For more advanced activity, have the student create the design using a geoboard with rubber bands. You could also make a design on the base plate and then give your student an empty base plate and give them verbal instructions only. So giving them verbal instructions, they have to recreate what you made and then compare those, or reverse it. Have your student create something on the base plate and then they have to give you verbal directions. That's a little more challenging. Give them a designated amount of the Lego bricks, and especially if you have a few kids playing, there could be a challenge of who can make the tallest tower, who can make the widest building or the flattest, depending on how many bricks you want to give them, how much time you have, what their skill level is. So this was just us kind of sitting around throwing things out there. If you look at the skills that are and the activities that are already listed on the website, you will be able to use tons of those and then create them or adapt them to fit your students' needs. So go forth. We want you to build, play, create, explore, develop meaningful, playful instruction that's going to get kids the skills they need so that they can be successful in tactile reading or even in print reading. All kids are benefiting from playing and from constructing and using their imagination. That's going to help in literacy tasks across the board. But first, you've got to request your Lego Braille Bricks toolkit. And if you can say Lego Braille Bricks toolkit maybe 5 times really quickly, you can go straight to the fun. Don't pass go. There are a few assurances that you will need to make when you request the Lego Braille Bricks toolkits. One, because FIMC has received a one-time set amount of toolkits, so there are no more. The Lego Foundation does not have any more of these kits. Everybody who's going to get them has them. So we have a designated amount. So TVIs requesting the toolkits, you just have to make these assurances, and you'll do that on the request form. The first one is, I understand that this toolkit is to be used in an educational setting, providing services to students ages 4 and up who are Braille learners/readers. I will not sell, lend out, everyone raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not sell, lend out, or give away the Braille bricks to people who are outside my agency or school district. Note, due to COVID-19, teachers may loan kits to homes in cases where remote teaching is occurring, but are expected to take the kits back for use with future students. So if you do send the toolkits home, make sure the family is in perfect understanding that these are not to keep, but they will be sending those back to the TVI. They're staying in your school district. They're being used with other children in your school district. The Lego form is going to look like this. We have a link directly from this PowerPoint. It can also be found on our website under forms, FIMC-VI.org/forms. Yes, and I don't think the website's going to show because I'm not sharing.
No, we're not seeing that
Okay.
one. But if you
we're out of time.
Yeah, and if you've used our other forms, it's very similar to how the other ones are set up. You're just filling out your information and going through.
Yeah, it's going to ask you questions about how many students you're working with, the level of your students, how many kits, and it'll go through the assurances again. You're going to have to click those. The resources we use that I talked about are also on this PowerPoint, so you can access those once we get it to the agenda. The Lego Braille Bricks website is on there, as well as touch thinking that Donna McNear talked about, just reinforcing the importance of why we want Braille that fits under the finger pads. So you can use this to help others understand, maybe classroom teachers or parents, other folks that are working with with Braille readers, why the Lego bricks are not intended to teach Braille reading, to teach the Braille code, that they are intended, they're a toy to help learn the skills that are needed for literacy. It's 2 o'clock. I haven't been looking at the chat box. Does anybody have any ideas that just kind of jump out there, how you'll be able to use these, what you can't wait to try?
So Jolene shared a link. So it's a picture of using like a Lego, the panel, and then creating a maze on top. And they actually did it so it's like a pumpkin patch Lego maze. Cool. So it looks like there's tons of ideas out there to create those kinds of things.
Awesome. And Colleen reminded me, the Braille bricks are not going to be sent out this week. We're not Amazon. We are better than Amazon because we send really, really cool, useful stuff for kids who are visually impaired. So once you do your submit your form, it will get processed. Don't worry about it. We've waited this long.
So the form is already on our website, on our forms page. So if you go to FIMC-VI.org and you click on the forms at the top menu there, is on that page with all of our other forms.
I also placed a link in the chat box.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrea.
Yes.
Under forms.
And so the closing code that you're going to use in that form, along with the opening code we already gave you, is Braille. Braille. We're keeping it simple for this one.
Real Braille. Yes. Open with Real, close with Braille.
Yeah. And so just remember too, because this is a limited time thing and a limited number of kits, to be judicious with your requests. We are doing this as a first come, first serve, but we also want to make sure that we're getting this out to as many districts as we can, as many teachers.
Whew. So does anybody, so it's 2:02, it's pretty close. If anybody has any questions, you can stick around for a few minutes. I'm happy to stick around for a few minutes. Otherwise, we are back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, and our first session begins
at 12:30.
I knew Liz was going to jump in. Thank you. 12:30 tomorrow. And I feel like, I don't want to say the best is yet to come because we've had some awesome sessions, but we have some really, really superstar heavy hitters coming up, talking about Braille reading mechanics, working with children with multiple disabilities, with literacy skills, just so much more that is still to come.
Yeah, so make sure you join us tomorrow. You can use the same link that you used to join this session.
Yay. So
I don't see any questions. I think everyone might be rushing off to fill out that form.
Colleen, how many orders do we have already? Yeah, but this is a really neat thing. I might just suggest too, as a follow-up, as a literacy follow-up activity, have your students, after they've played with the Braille bricks and figured out what they are and how cool they are, have them Braille some letters to the Lego Foundation. How cool would that be? To thank them for this opportunity and for thinking of Braille readers. I like to call it PR, public relations, even though it's not Braille that we would read in a book. It's bringing awareness to everyone else who reads print that, oh, kids read Braille. It's not just for adults, or it's not just the 2 people in the world that I've ever heard of that are blind. It really brings awareness in a fun way, in a mainstream way, the same way everybody else is playing with toys. This brings awareness to the world that there are kids out there that are learning this different way of reading.
So Colleen shared 15 orders so far, and I loaded the form and I'm getting the swirl. It's busy.
Oh,
it's busy.
Oh, it's busy. Yeah. Yeah. So Mia, we had one person said that they washed the Legos in a laundry bag, a mesh laundry bag in the washing machine, or even in the tub. And I think they come in a plastic container, if I remember right. So you could fill that with soap and water. Yeah, there we go. And just put them in there for a little bit in that soap and water and then rinse them off, and then they should be good to go for the next student. Because we definitely understand we don't want to be sharing germs right now.
Sharing is not caring when it comes to germs.
Yes.
Ta-da. Yes, very exciting. And every single stud on there, just like Legos, has the word Lego embossed on them. So these are official, these are the real deal. Don't look for, if you find knockouts floating around out there, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Cool, all right.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Cool, and thank you. Yeah, Mia says that she's got 2 kids learning Braille, but she just ordered 1 kit because she knows there are lots and lots of kids that are in the state. So thank you, Mia, for being conservative with that.
And if we end up having some left after
Thanks,
kind of a
Nicola.
while of orders, we'll let you all know that you can
True.
go back and request some more.
Oh, 28. I feel like QVC.
Oh.
28 kits are out. What's the countdown?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Get them while they're hot. One time only. Tell your
Flying off the
colleagues
shelf.
to watch the webinar that's going to be recorded, and they can enter the magic opening and closing code and make the assurances.
My inbox is filling up.
No
Oh,
BOGO. Awesome. All right. Thank you, gang. We will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, 12:30. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.